I'm Dr. Deb Butler, and you are listening to Thinner Peace and Menopause and Beyond. This is episode number 391.
Welcome to Thinner Peace and Menopause and Beyond. This is Dr. Deb Butler, Master Life and Weight Coach, and as always, your coach. If you're a woman and you're smart and you're successful and you've been struggling with weight your whole life, and now menopause is making it harder than ever, and you are ready to make this the last time you ever have to go on a diet again, then this podcast is for you. Stay tuned.
Well, hello, my dear friends all over the world. And you know I mean all over the world. And I love to say it. And I love to know that this message of hope in menopause and this message of losing weight for the very last time because you're in menopause and being more connected to your body is a message that is universal. I know it because I hear from all of you, and it warms my heart to know that I am helping you not only change your mind, change your body, and change your life. It warms my heart. And today, what I want to talk about, well, there's so much going on right now, and I want to stay as clear and focused as I can so I can help you understand what's still going on, what is still open, and what is not open anymore. And also, I want to talk to you today about one of my clients, and I want to talk to you about a term and a tool that I use called massive action. So first of all, let me introduce to you that if you did not get into my Jumpstart program that I did last week, I offered it. It was 3 days, 3 hours of working with me, coaching with me. We had a lot of fun. We learned a lot. If that wasn't for you, or you didn't have the time, or you didn't even know about it, and now you're going, doggone it, I still have something for you. And it's a master class and it's free. And I want to give you some very simple steps on how to start now, no matter where you are. No matter where you are, you got to start. And I call it the 3 steps to permanent weight loss in menopause. And really, I should call it 3 simple steps to permanent weight loss in menopause. And it includes my philosophy, which is, if you've never been connected to your body your whole life because you've been on diets your whole life, and now you go into menopause and those diets and those tips and those tricks don't work anymore, this masterclass is for you and this podcast is for you. So if you're interested in coming to my masterclass for free, where I will coach you and I will teach you and I will get you moving, all you need to do is go to drdebbutler.com/class, CLASS. You can sign up for the class for Wednesday, October 4th at 11:30 Central. You can get all the details if you go to that link, drdebbutler.com/class. Find out all the details, get yourself signed up. I am going to be going through a lot of information, and I promise you, if you show up, you'll get started. Okay, that being said, now what I want to talk to you about is I want to talk to you about one of my clients that I just got through working with yesterday. And I think that what happened with her would be interesting to share with you because it probably happens to you. So here's the scenario, is I got on the phone with her, and one of the things that all of my clients who work with me do is they do a very specific kind of food journaling. I call it the Dr. Deb food journaling way. It's like nothing that you've ever done before other than write your food down. But I teach you specific numbers on how hungry you are and how full you are and where you are emotionally. I work with you on all of that. And then when you send it to me, when you're working individually with me, I look at what gets my attention and ask you questions about it. Or like what happened with this client, as soon as we got on the phone for our session, She knew exactly what she wanted to talk to me about because her food journal, because she writes down everything and she writes down her numbers, she knows something's going on. And so the first thing that she wanted to do when she got on the call with me is she wanted to talk about a specific incident. And this incident that showed up on her food journal is what I want to talk to you about today, because I think my coaching with her will help you learn about your own brain and your own eating. So when I talk about the types of eating, I talk about that there is fuel eating, which means that you're choosing nutritious food. There's joy eating, which means that you're choosing food that you like the taste of, but it has no nutritional value. And then there's fog eating, where you're eating beyond a +2, you're eating when you're not hungry. And then there's storm eating, where you're eating when you're not hungry, but you're eating a lot more food and feeling a lot more emotional and have a lot less ability to stop. At least that's how you feel. So when I got on the phone with this client, the first thing she said to me is, I want to go over what happened with me at 9 o'clock a couple nights ago. What showed up on her food journal was at 9 o'clock, she had a couple bowls of cereal and milk, and then she had some salted nuts. And the beauty of the food journal is, as far as a hunger scale went, she was already at a +2 before she started. And she even started telling me is that she just had this urge from the minute that she came home, even after she ate dinner and noted on her food journal, instead of eating to a +2, which is satisfaction and fullness, she went to a +3. And then on top of that, once dinner was over, she still had this strong urge to want to go in the kitchen and wander around and eat. And so she said to herself, and she talked to her husband, and she said, I'm going to go to bed early and I'm going to read. Now, here's what happened. What she was telling herself and what she told me is that she knew how strong these urges was. And so she wanted to get away from the kitchen and she wanted to get in bed and she wanted to distract herself with reading instead of wanting to go down in the kitchen. But in the end, she went down in the kitchen, she ate the cereal, she ate the nuts. She wrote in her journal how ashamed she felt and bad she felt after she did it. So this is what I saw, and I want to talk to you about how we discuss this. Because this was between a fog and a storm eat. So we know that there's increased emotion and there's increased food. But the thing is that she was telling me is that she was so aware and she wanted more than anything not to get out of bed, not to go downstairs, and yet she couldn't stop it. She couldn't stop herself. Have you ever been there before? I know you probably have. Now, the first thing that I had her do, and I would have you do if you were working with me, or even if you're doing this free masterclass with me, I'll probably be doing this with coaching, is to find out how strong that urge was to go eat something. Now, what she told me, it was so strong, she called it a -7 or a -8. Now, negative emotion can go from a 0 to a -10. -10 is the strongest and 0 is neutral. So a -7 is pretty strong. So we discussed the strength of the urge because she also realizes when those urges aren't as strong, they are easier for her to manage her mind around. And when they got stronger like this one, she couldn't. So the next step of what I did with her is I wanted to go through her day with her food journal as to what happened. And basically her food journal was all fuel eating between the 2s until she came home from work and she had dinner, which became a fuel dinner, but it was a fog because she went to a +3. And I said, well, what happened? Did anything happen this day that you recall? She went on to tell me about how something that really bothered her had happened, where she had a very difficult client and a partner that was supposed to work with her on this. And they had a conversation, and I'm not going to go intimately into the conversation, But basically, what she found out is that she was going to have to handle this difficult client all by herself. At least this is what she thought. And this happened more around lunchtime. And she was really bothered by it because she had a thought. And this is really what we worked on once we found out, is we looked at when that happened, when that conversation happened. Now, that conversation is just a circumstance, right? It's just what happened. It's what she said. It's what her partner said. And the thought that she came away with on this is, I have to do everything myself. That's the thought that was triggered by this conversation. And when she thought that, she felt overwhelmed. She felt pressure. And basically, what she did is she ended up trying to stay away from the strength of all of those emotions. She just kept resisting them, pushing them away, hoping they would go away until she came home at the end of the day, which led to overeating at dinner. She even said she had a conversation with her partner about what had happened. But when she got into bed, the feeling that she was feeling all day came full force. And all she wanted to do was distract herself from it, because the only thing she felt was the urge to go down and eat. But really what was going on was it was the urge to resist this strong feeling of pressure and overwhelm because of what she was thinking about this incident. And she didn't want to feel it, and she just wanted to push it away. She wanted to get away from it. And what we found as I was coaching and talking to her is that she does this a lot, is she just doesn't want to go to the feeling. She wants to do anything but feel it. And of course, what happened at 9 o'clock at night when she was laying in bed is, as she was resisting the feeling of this overwhelm, the urge to want to go down and eat kept getting stronger and stronger. And this is what I always say to you, to her, to everyone that's listening. You either feel it or you fill it. This was a perfect example of filling it, but also it was a perfect example of how you can work through your whole day of eating and what happened to find out if there are some deep emotions that you're not willing to feel, which is exactly the case that happened to her. And one of the other tools that I teach that's very, very important is called the comeback tool, which means when something like this happens, like when she had this overeat, this fog storm eat at 9 o'clock at night, you don't just wake up the next day and say, well, okay, I'm just going to forget about that, and I'm just going to move on and eat between the twos. Now, part of that is right. You want to move on, and next meal, you want to fuel and you want to eat between the twos. But it's learn and move on. That's the way you come back. You have to learn what happened when something like this happens, as opposed to, I'll never do that again, or beat yourself up to a pulp, which is really what she was doing, feeling so bad about it, but not learning what happened. And so this coaching session that we had was all about looking at this whole day in an intimate way, finding out how she was thinking and why she was at a -7 strong urges to just want to go overeat and not feel it. So this was a moment for her where she felt bad at the moment, but by the time that we talked, she was enlightened. And one of the only things that I said, the only thing, if I could have done anything differently, I told her what she could skip would be the punishment. Because the best thing you can do sometimes when the emotion is this strong is to know that you're going to figure out what's going on. Even if you can't figure it out in the moment, you could figure it out in the next day or two if you're willing to look at it, especially if you're working with a coach, especially working with somebody like me. it becomes a huge learning experience. And let me tell you, for her, a huge learning experience. Because number one, she saw how she was pushing the feelings away. She saw how the way that she was thinking was making her feel overwhelmed because she thought she was the only one that could handle it. Now, listen, that's not really true. And as we talked about it, she discussed it and we went through the whole thing because she figured out she could get help and that she could figure it out. She's been doing this for a long time. You know, she kind of got her mind back. Sometimes you lose your mind. Sometimes you lose your mind when your emotion gets too high. And when this happened, I don't know that she could have figured it out right away. The best thing that she probably knew is that she was feeling something really strong in her body. And that is an invitation to look at it. Sometimes that's the only hint that you get, is that your body is screaming at you. It's feeling overwhelmed. It's feeling pressured. It's feeling whatever, way before it takes you to eating. So what can you learn from this? You can learn and you can move on, but you don't move on before you learn from something like this. Anytime you see in your food journals where you're overeating or there's a fog eat or there's a storm eat, there is something to be learned about you that you don't know. And for my client, she learned something that she didn't know, and she learned that she'll take baby steps into feeling her feelings more than she has. And the hint about these feelings is that you feel them. They're in your body. She knew exactly where it was when I asked her where she felt it. It was in her chest and upper abdomen, and it was strong and it was clutching. That's when you almost have to say to yourself, I am going to take care of you as soon as this is over, because you can feel it. And when the conversation was over and when she was back to wherever she was, she might have a moment to hold some space for her to process that emotion of what it felt like in her chest and her abdomen, how it felt, what color was it, how strong was it, just to give it a voice, to give the feeling a voice. And that is how it can dissipate in your body, and that is how you can process it. So once again, it's the same lesson. Feel it or fill it. You all know, you've all been feeling it. This is an invitation to start feeling it. So if you want to learn how to do this a little bit before you take a big step of working with me, then maybe you want to come to my free masterclass that I'm holding on Wednesday, October 4th at 11:30 a.m. Central, where I can baby step you to any of these things that I'm talking about to help you become more aware of those strong feelings that are in your body. All you have to do is go to drdebbutler.com/class, and you can sign up and you can get yourself started. And of course, I would never end this podcast without saying to you, no matter where you go or who you're with, please, please, please be very, very kind to yourself, and I will see you next week. Bye-bye.
If you're loving my podcast and you would like some more information to be able to follow along with, then please go to drdebbutler.com/change, and you can get a free copy of my companion book that goes with this podcast that I refer to in many different episodes. That is drdebbutler.com/change, CHANGE.